Hey, what's up? Nefarious Wes here. Now I'm finally getting around to doing a response video to JLuv's 3 NES games that I grew up with but haven't beaten. But I'm going to do things a little bit differently though. I'm going to do 3 retro games. I'm not going to just limit myself to NES because honestly I couldn't think of too many. So I'm going to do 3 retro games. The first one though is an NES one. And it's a game that I'm sure a lot of people have not beaten because it's pretty damn difficult. Battletoads.
Battletoads is a notoriously difficult game and one that caused me countless hours of frustration. These amphibious Ninja Turtle knockoffs adventure is vastly diverse, with beat-em-up stages, vertical ones, and even vehicle-driven levels, just to name a few. The Turbo Tunnel is where the game ends for many casual gamers, or for those who don't have much patience. While yes, it is frustrating, it pales in comparison with what the rest of the game has to offer. I too fell victim to impatience and anger while playing Battletoads, as evidenced by my beat-up childhood NES. Yeah, I decorated the thing when I was younger, but that big crack in the top of the console and the missing door is all Battletoads. The scars are there to prove it. While I am much better at the game now, its ending is still one that eludes me to this day. About 8 years ago I began playing the game religiously, often at my buddy Matt's house, who actually did beat the game when we were kids. Not so much anymore. I was able to get to stage 9 without using any warps, and no, I wasn't about to torture myself to get footage for that stage as I am seriously out of practice. But a few years ago I was able to get to the Clinger Winger stage, which is the second to final one. But playing Battletoads on a HD TV with input lag makes stage 11 all but impossible, so until I am able to replay this one on a CRT, Battletoads will have to remain unbeaten. Arrgh.
Battletoads, oh my god, Battletoads. Yeah, that game inflicted a lot of damage on my original NES. Man, did that game piss me off. So one of these days I will beat it though. It won't be on an HD TV because I simply can't do it on an HD TV unless there's some way I can do it without any lag. But yeah, I'll have to bust out the CRT and do it there. But I promise you, one of these days I will beat Battletoads. It's on my bucket list. So this next game is one that I grew up with on the Sega Genesis. It's a shooter, as you probably already know, I love shooters. But this one is so damn difficult. It's a great game, don't get me wrong, but man, it is just punishing. It is unforgiving, it's brutal, it's Gyrus.
If you've been watching my channel, you already know what a huge shooter fan I am. After seeing the huge boss sprites pictured in issues of Electronic Gaming Monthly for Gyrus in 1990, I had to have it. And yes, it's pronounced Gyrus. You gonna question that, mullet? This shooter is incredibly difficult, and I struggled to get past stage 2 as a kid. Hell, I still do. The game takes a ton of practice and dedication, and I usually move on to something else before I get much better at it. Gyrus has limited continues and harsh checkpoints, so replaying it can be a bit discouraging. The game employs a unique mechanic where your ship is equipped with an option called the TOS system, which allows you to seek out new weapons by stealing the data from the very enemies that you face off against. Problem is that once you send the TOS out, your ship cannot fire and is unable to defend itself, leaving you vulnerable to attacks. The game takes a lot of memorization, and knowing which enemies have the appropriate weapons to use at just the right time is the only way to live to see another stage. I want to finish this game eventually so I can review it for a future episode of Let There Be Shooters, but man, I don't know if I have the patience for it. Gyrus does have the tendency to boil my blood. But shit, it's really good, and I would love to see the damn thing all the way through one of these days.
You know, one of these days I do want to beat Gyrus, but I know it's going to take a ton of practice, it's going to take a ton of dedication, a ton of time, and I don't know if I'm willing to put that much effort into this game when I have hundreds, thousands of other games to play, so I would like to. I mean, if I'm ever going to review this game for an episode of Let There Be Shooters, I'm going to have to beat it. So, I don't know, maybe one of these days I will just go ahead and sit down and dedicate all of my time to mastering this game. But for now, I think I'm just going to give it a good old JLuv slap. And the final game on my list, another shooter, because damn it, shooters are hard. So yeah, this one's going to be on the Super Nintendo. It's UN Squadron.
Another shooter, UN Squadron is a Capcom game that comes out of Hell's Gate unmercifully. In arcade port, UN Squadron allows you to choose between 3 different fighter pilots, all with their own unique attributes. I tend to choose Greg Gates since he can take the most damage, but once your plane takes a hit, you're vulnerable for a few seconds where you will die instantly should you take another bullet regardless of how much energy you have. The game would be much more manageable if it wasn't for one of the dumbest mechanics I've ever seen in a shooter, burst rapid fire. Most shooters use rapid fire where you can just hold the fire button down and shoot bullets continuously, allowing you to worry about your surroundings while at the same time fending off the enemy. UN Squadron, on the other hand, forces you to release the fire button and then hold it down again, firing short bursts. Combine this with planes and bullets encapsulating the entire screen, it's only a recipe for disaster. I absolutely hate it. Just recently I began using a turbo controller to correct this atrocious mechanic, and even then the game is brutal. Regardless of who you begin with, your aircraft is as weak as a malnourished kitten, and it isn't until you start earning money by destroying baddies that you can then upgrade your ship in between stages and lives. You can also stock up on limited secondary weapons, which are without a doubt invaluable, but with enemies coming at you from all angles, it's extremely difficult to even get far enough to buy upgraded planes, which is the key to survival in UN Squadron. Once your jet's defense is upgraded, things become much more manageable, but it's akin to Kid Icarus, where the game is relentlessly unforgiving at the start, until you're able to level up and gain strength. And with only 3 continues at your disposal, good fucking luck. I would love to conquer this one someday, but sometimes the anger that this game causes me just simply isn't worth the trouble. I'll shelve this one under play it later.
Oh! Felt like a stone.
Oh, God. Man, I was getting so frustrated capturing footage for UN Squadron. I hadn't played it in a few years, and I was so out of practice. I was just doing miserably, and that game is so tough. That's another game that, just like Gyrus, I would have to sit down and dedicate a lot of time and practice into mastering it, and I don't know if I'm just willing to do it. We'll see, though, because I would like to get far on that game. I'd like to beat it. I've probably never even gotten halfway through the game. I don't know. It's hard to say, but that's one that one of these days I would definitely love to beat, so we'll see. Anyway, I just want to say thank you to JLuv for this awesome topic. It was a lot of fun to cover. I mean, it was fun to cover. It wasn't fun getting the footage for it, that's for sure. But no, I had a lot of fun making this video. If you have yet to see her original video, I'll go ahead and leave a link to it in the comments below. And then feel free to do a response if you'd like. I mean, I'm doing this response like a month later. So, I mean, better late than never, right? So anyway, thanks to JLuv. Thanks to all of you for watching. Until next time, catch you all later.